without any stop. When I first entered adult life, I imagined like the young idiot I then was that I had complete control of my face. I was convinced that I could permit myself to feel anything behind that bland disguise. When I went out for the evening and found myself becoming more and more bored by the company, I was sure that nobody but myself was aware of the fact. I set my face as best I could from behind to register a polite or even eager interest. I put on a smile and kept it there, left my eyes to sparkle away and so forth, and then felt, even though the smile seemed rather stiff towards the end of the evening, that I could relapse with safety into comfortable boredom. As I never saw myself, it was some time before I was disillusioned. We never lost any of our illusions about ourselves in the company of strangers. But I made friends, and in this, as in other matters, that they very quickly disillusioned me as they strolled in the usual friendly fashion through the house of my mind and casually opened a few windows here and there to let in the east wind. One would say, dullish at the so and so's the other night. I thought you looked dreadfully bored. A succession of such remarks soon revealed to me the true state of things, and I realized that I had been deceiving myself. It was not for me to try to look one thing when I was thinking myself. It was not for me to try to look one thing when I was thinking and feeling another. The idea of myself as one of your smooth fellows made for diplomacy and the best society for ever charming yet secretly tired of it all would no longer hold, and bearing in mind my newer and truer relations with my face, I was compelled to revise my estimate of myself. There was, however, nothing alarming or even really disappointing in the situation. I was not sorry to be free from the siren of a diplomatic bearing and congratulated myself on the fact that the higher types of human beings do not wear a smooth and impassive front. There is nothing better than an open, honest countenance, frankly expressing to the world its owner's feelings. I thought so then, and I think so still, though now my opinion is worth more, if only because it is more disinterested. I imagined then that mine was one of those open, honest faces, and was happy in this belief until the cumulative effect of a series of misunderstandings of which that one last night is a good example, compelled me to take stock of myself if once more, with the result that I was disillusioned once and for all. I found that people were always telling me not to be so angry, when in actual fact I was only slightly annoyed, were forever asking me why I was so jubilant, when in truth I was only mildly pleased, were constantly suggesting that I should not glare furiously at strangers, when I was only conscious of feeling a little curious. At last I realized the truth. My face did not even honestly reflect my mind, but grossly caricatured it. I was carrying into all companies a monstrous libel, libel of myself. It was as if I were compelled to wear a set of features that did not belong to me at all, but to some other and very different kind of man. Small wonder, then, that I should be so frequently misjudged, for it is not unnatural that people should imagine that these facial antics for which I am held responsible, though they seem to be entirely beyond my control, are an indication of my state of mind. Though we have decided to proceed with caution and where necessary on a purely experimental basis, we are by no means content that the contribution which we make to the rural areas should be limited to the opening of branches, provision of the ordinary banking services, and the mobilization of savings through depositors' account. I have already referred to the large volume of finance we are making available for the procurement of food grains as well as of other agricultural produce such as jute, by agencies sponsored by government. Apart from this, in the allied sphere of cooperative credit, our limits to all types of cooperative institutions have increased from rupees 44.5 crores on December 31, 1962 to rupees 61.9 crores on December 31, 1964, and the outstanding from rupees 1.09 crores to rupees 21.4 crores. But all this does not amount to as large or as positive a contribution as we might eventually be able to make, that is to say, if we adequately equip ourselves in the matter of personnel, organization, and procedures to the solution of the vast and diversified problem of rural credit in different parts of the country. We are already making a substantial contribution to marketing and processing credit in the rural areas. This is largely in the shape of loans to cooperative, or as in the case of procurement to state governments. In the matter of credit for production in the rural areas, whether agricultural production or industrial production, and whether short term credit or medium term credit, our contribution is still small. It is deliberately and understandably so, the main role in this connection being that of cooperative banks as distinguished from commercial banks. As you are aware, the cooperative credit structure operates in this particular context under the immediate guidance of the Reserve Bank and with its massive assistance. But the cooperative agency has not always or in all states attained adequate strength and resources to fulfill the role assigned to it, or at any rate to do so to such an extent as to make a supplementary agency unnecessary. The problem has consequently been under constant review at high levels of policy making. So far as the State Bank is concerned, this important matter has also been under the consideration of your directors for some time. While giving it the utmost attention, they have also had in mind firstly the limitations inherent in the working of a commercial bank, and secondly the considerations arising from the need to coordinate the operations of the state bank with those of the cooperative credit agency. This latter, it must be remembered, is at different stages of development in different states. It was after weighing all these aspects carefully that your directors have recently approved of a scheme of rural pilot centers to be operated by the State Bank of India and its subsidiaries. This scheme will be introduced in different parts of the country.